Welcome to this presentation of the 4-year plan, brought to you by the Guidance Counseling Department at Valley Christian High School. The 4-year plan is a comprehensive presentation for parents and students aimed at helping them put together a 4-year track of courses that will challenge their mind and prepare them for wherever they decide to go after their high school years. From being an active member of our country's military to attending a top university anywhere in the country. Here at Valley Christian, we view the next 4 years of high school as preparation for a race. Just as a driver prepares himself and his equipment for the challenge of a long road race, so too will this plan guide you throughout your 4 years here at Valley Christian High School. The plan worksheet you will develop from this presentation will be something you can refer to many times each year. It can be changed along the way to match your changing interests and academic desires. Our guiding verse for this year, for the 4-year plan, is found in Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. You know, we at Valley Christian want you and your son or daughter to create a plan that the student can successfully achieve, a plan that opens, hopefully, all the doors of opportunity for them in the future, a plan that has been prayerfully considered and led by God's will and not solely our own desires, and lastly, a plan that defines success on each student's terms. Now, every professional race car driver needs a qualified group of people on hand to help them when repairs and maintenance are needed. This group is called the pit crew. Our students have access to their very own pit crew that consists of their parent or guardian and their own dedicated guidance counselor. The guidance counselor is ready to help the student in their 4-year race. They're eager to answer questions about college and career preparation and assist in any of the day-to-day challenges that we may experience while at school. Communication is one of the most important ways a driver can let his pit crew know that he needs assistance. In the same way, every student needs to properly communicate his or her own needs. It's vitally important students and parents and guardians initiate healthy dialogue with their teachers first so they can be the ones to assist in their needs. Counselors can stand ready to help should the issue need to be resolved further. Now, midway through the school year, you'll receive training in various web-based tools that will help the student in their college and career research. These tools, like Family Connection, will help students research the best fit for their colleges or careers. And they can also see how Valley Christian High School students have placed in their college process. Here in the screen in front of you, you can see that we have what is called a scattergram. It shows at the top this is a scattergram of Berkeley University, UC Berkeley. It shows the green squares that indicate students that have been accepted from Valley Christian to go to UC Berkeley. The little red X's indicate students who were denied acceptance. And you can see that on the X and Y axes we have an accepted average GPA of 4.4 and an accepted average SAT score of just over 2,000. So there's a little bit of a shotgun pattern there that you can see that there's an average that a student needs to achieve to likely be considered for admission. By contrast, let's take a look at San Jose State University's scattergram, which is very different. We can see that the accepted average grade point is lower at 3.43, and the accepted average SAT score is also, again, lower, just under 1,600 on the SAT. So certainly there's a school out there for every student, one that they can achieve that level of acceptance at, and we want students to be able to research this and know where they could possibly go. Lots of other great resources on the web and off the web. This is a slide in front of you for College Board. Collegeboard.com is a wonderful resource where students can find help to do the same, researching colleges and researching careers. They also have wonderful handbooks that they print every year. Incidentally, you can look and use these resources in our Career Center and College Resource Center. Students and parents alike can just come there and access these books looking up majors, studying for scholarships, financial aid, and so on. Wonderful resources through collegeboard.com. Also next, the question that this whole presentation aims to ask is directed toward our student. What do you think that you'll be doing after you graduate? That's a question students should be beginning to ask themselves. I think everyone remembers the first time that we ever heard the age-old question, what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, now is a great time to be thinking about the answer to that question, students. Let's step back for a moment, though, and ask, what do you think you'll be doing right after you graduate? So much of what you'll be doing in high school will dictate your choices for a career someday. As counselors, we want to start by pointing students in the right direction. Here are a few of the things that our Valley graduates have decided to do right after they graduate. One, some of them have gone straight to work or joined the military full-time. Some of them have decided to attend a community college or a trade school for a couple of years and then went to school full-time or work. Taking general education courses or major requirements at a community college and then transferring to a four-year institution. Certainly more and more families are deciding to go this route in especially today's economy. It can be a more affordable option. Or enrolling straight into a four-year college or university. Certainly over 94% of the students here at Valley Christian are wanting or desiring to do this, and most of our talks and preparation as counselors are geared toward this goal. And honestly, you may have no clue at what you want to do with the rest of your life, let alone right after graduation, and this is a safe place and time to have that feeling. We just want, as counselors, for you, the student, and the family to begin to start having dialogue about this now. Now, as a counselor, this is how we would like our students to view their future after they graduate. You can see in front of you here an image of a hallway with many doors. The hallway represents a student's destination after the next 4 years here at Valley Christian. Along the way, the classes you'll take and the knowledge that you'll gain will open, hopefully, all the doors of opportunity for you. Your choices may open just a few of the doors of opportunity, or maybe, just maybe, the decisions you make and the activities that you're involved with in the next 4 years could open all the doors of opportunity for you. Wouldn't you like to have a lot of opportunities as opposed to one or just a few? Well, that's our goal as counselors, to help you with a 4-year plan that opens all the doors of opportunity for you for your future. At Valley Christian, we want to be sure that students are preparing themselves for a career someday that will not only be the Lord's will for their lives, but also be a job they will be passionate about and love. Students should not choose professions based solely on how much money they'll make one day or do something their parents have been successful doing. Students have their own unique race to run. They need to find their own unique purpose in Christ and acquire the tools necessary for that journey. Now, at Valley Christian High School, we align our preparation for college with the UC and CSU admission requirements because we know that if we prepare our students for UC and CSU, that's University of California and the California State University, if we align them with that admissions, we're really preparing our students for requirements that represent preparation for most of the colleges and universities in the country. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions by students and parents is, what are colleges looking for? Well, it's hard to know exactly what each school is looking for when it comes to narrowing their specific search for the perfect freshman class. Now, we can, however, assume several things that will help in our preparation. Now, first of all, let's take a look at this slide in front of you. This is what we comically might refer to as our local college admissions counselor with several thousand, up to 80,000 at times, admissions applications sent from students all over the world, which they have to pore over and make a decision about. So what are they deciding about, and how can we help you prepare? The next several slides will give you the top 10 items or things that colleges are looking for in a student. They're listed in order of importance, so if you get nothing else in this presentation, these are the things you really need to come away with. All right? So here's the college admission top 10. Now, number one, the most important thing colleges are looking for is a high school curriculum that challenges the student. Academically successful students should include several honors and advanced placement classes that include the minimum number of required classes. Now, the UC and CSU refer to this as the A to G requirements, and those are actually listed in the supplemental packet that you can get a hold of on our website at vcs.net. vcs.net, and if you go to high school and click on the left, guidance counseling, click specifically on freshman, sophomore, you'll see all the documentation for this presentation is there for you and provided. Now, the A to G requirements refer to the academic subjects that students need to take in order to qualify for UC and CSU schools. Let's go on to number 2, college admissions top 10. Number 2, grades, your GPA, that represents a strong effort and an upward trend. Now, your grades should show an upward trend over the years. However, slightly lower grades in a rigorous program are preferred to all A's in less challenging coursework. So colleges are looking for what we commonly refer to as strength of schedule, looking for a student who really is challenging themselves over the 4 years. Number 3, solid scores on standardized tests. That would be your SAT and ACT scores. These should be consistent with your high school performance. Number 4, your passionate involvement in a few activities. I say a few activities demonstrating leadership and initiative. They're looking for depth and not breadth of experience. That's most important to the colleges. It really does not help you if you're involved in 4 or 5 different clubs and you're playing 2 or 3 different club sports and a team sport at Valley and doing way too much. Do not overextend yourself. Again, look for depth and not breadth. They're not interested in a student who is a mile wide and only an inch deep. So focus on that. Number 5, community service showing evidence of being a contributor. Activities should demonstrate your concern for other people and a global view. I think colleges, what they're really looking for is someone who is going to be a world changer now, someone who's really going to change the world. Also, let's talk about work or out-of-school experiences, including summer activities. That is the next slide here that we're looking at. They illustrate responsibility, dedication, and development of your areas of interest. A job, a paid job, or another meaningful use of free time can demonstrate maturity. It was actually Stanford, their admissions counselors that said that they're actually very interested in a student who has a summer job at Baskin-Robbins or some other part-time job where they're learning service to their community and learning how to manage their money and whatnot. So that's important to them. Looking here at number 6, work or out-of-school experience, community service, that shows evidence of being a contributor. We talked about being a world changer a second ago. The tip here is that many scholarships are tied to community service projects, so that's very important that you could get some money for your family for helping your community. 7, a well-written essay that provides insight into the student's unique personality, values, and goals. This application essay should be thoughtful and highly personal, and it should demonstrate careful and well-constructed writing. Now, we at Valley Christian help you in terms of writing your essay, so you can look to get that help when you are here, and we'll show you how to do that. It's very important that you understand that most of the, especially in the UC, the average amount of time that they spend looking at your application, including the essay, is 8 minutes. So you want to say something really important about yourself right away and capture their attention. Number 8, letters of recommendation from teachers and guidance counselors that give evidence of integrity, special skill, and positive character traits. Students, you should request recommendations from teachers who respect your work in an academic discipline. Now, it's important, especially in the freshman year, to establish good relationships with your teachers and then hang on to those relationships. There's nothing, if a student is a senior and all of a sudden decides to have their senior teachers write them a recommendation letter, well, that senior teacher may only have known them for about a semester, so they really don't have a clue as to the character of the student and all the involvement that they've been doing. So make those connections early and keep them strong throughout the 4 years. Number 9, supplementary recommendations by adults who have had significant direct contact with the student. Letters from coaches or supervisors in a long-term work or volunteer activity are valuable. However, recommendations from casual acquaintances or family friends, even if they're well known, are rarely given much weight. So that's important to know. Better to have someone who really knows you rather than someone the college knows write that about you. Lastly, number 10, anything that is makes special, that makes a student stand out from the rest of the other applicants. Include honors or awards, evidence of unusual talent or experience, or anything else that makes a student unique. Overall, colleges are seeking students who will be active, contributing members of their student body. Now, there's levels of preparation that we want you to be aware of here at Valley Christian. There's a few different levels. The first one is the community college level. Next will be the CSU, California State University Standard Preparation. Then we'll talk briefly about UC preparation. So right now, let's spend a little bit of time with the first track, community college. There are some great community colleges right here in the Bay Area. I've listed them here in the presentation. California has one of the largest community college systems, serving over 2 million students presently. One of the cautions that we like to let students and parents know about in terms of their desire to transfer from a community college to a UC or CSU is that 1 out of 4 students ever really complete a 2-year transfer plan. And universities are looking for serious transfers. The reason for this is that many students who are now maybe 19 or 20 years old have a full-time job. They're maybe living on their own, have a very serious relationship, and possibly are talking about marriage and settling down. And pretty soon that desire or plan to transfer grows quite dim and never really materializes. So be sure that if you are going to start out on a plan to transfer from a community college, that you sit down and write it down, make it a plan that's written in stone with your family, and then you really adhere to it. Transfers also, nowadays you hear about transfers admitted by major. This is happening a lot, especially at the bigger UC schools. Completion of major requirements are becoming more important to UC schools. The more work you complete toward your major, the more competitive you will be, especially in a certain department like business or engineering. That's something that you want to keep in mind. There are some admission guarantee programs, the IGETC, it's called, IGETC certification program. UC has their own transfer admission guarantee, and UCLA has their own TAP, or Transfer Alliance program. These are programs that are meant to hopefully guarantee your transfer after you're done with your community college experience. However, in today's climate or economy in education in California, it's very difficult to say there will ever be really a guarantee for you. So be aware of that. You can do your own research in that area and probably Google any one of these titles. Let's now look at the CSU standard preparation. It's kind of the next level up, if you will, in terms of what students can do here at Valley Christian. Over half of the U.S. colleges have these very same requirements. They'll typically, your preparation for a California State University, like San Jose State University, right here in our own backyard, will open about half of the doors of opportunity for you for the future. You will need at least a 3.0 GPA to be considered for a CSU school. I would like you to consider a little bit higher. If you can reach a 3.5, that would be good. Here are the 23 schools, the CSU schools located all over California, for you to consider. Keep in mind that most of our CSU and UC schools are mandated to first take their students that are in their, what we call their service area. So a student who lives in Bakersfield would have a better opportunity into getting to CSU Bakersfield than a student here at San Jose. Also, if you are planning to prepare for a Christian school, I've listed some of those here: Azusa, Westmont, William Jessup, Biola, to name a few. The CSU standard preparation will prepare you likely for admission into these schools as well. Let's move on a little bit into the UC preparation. UC Standard, and there's also UC Honors and AP preparation. This will prepare you for the upper 1/3 of our colleges and universities in the nation. UC Berkeley, UC Davis, etc. I actually have all the UC schools listed for you on the PowerPoint. You will need at least a 3.5 grade point average to consider your UC admission. Now, keep in mind that a lot of UC schools, UCLA for instance, some of the higher UC schools, we call them elite schools, are going to require more of you than the others. So you'll have to do your own research. I think this last couple of years, UCLA's average GPA for admissions was over 4.4, 4.5. So that's something you want to make sure that you keep in mind. Again, you can go to Family Connection, look at the scattergrams, and see what it is that you need to do to be considered. Typically, your preparation for UC is going to open all the doors of opportunity for you in the future, as well as other schools, private schools like Pepperdine. Biola has the Torrey Honors Institute, which is a renowned institute which has a higher expectation of students. Santa Clara University right here in the Bay Area, and Wheaton College, again, just to name a few. Now, we have in front of you a sample 4-year plan, which I want you to take a look at. The columns represent the 9th through 12th grade. You can see at the top there. And on the left, I've included the graduation requirements. So you'll see there that Bible is in that first row. Christianity in our culture. You need 4 years of Bible, for instance, to graduate from Valley Christian. Likewise for English, that second row, 4 years of English in order to graduate, okay? And so on as you go down the list. You'll notice that when you get to foreign language, where it says Spanish 1, row 6, there is no graduation requirement at Valley Christian. However, we do know that every college and university will expect that you have achieved at least getting to a level 2 of a foreign language. For instance, Spanish 2 or Mandarin 2 or Latin 2 and so forth. Some of you students who have taken a foreign language in junior high might have come into your freshman or sophomore year in a higher level, and that's okay. If you've reached or taking, for instance, Spanish 2 or 3 as a freshman, you might be done with your foreign language as far as the colleges are concerned. So in other words, they don't need to see a full 2 years of a foreign language taken in your high school years if you've reached a certain level. Foreign language is where this happens. Also, you'll see your PE and strength and conditioning also are there, 2-year graduation requirement. Many of you know that you can waive that second year requirement for PE by being involved in team sports here at Valley Christian for 2 seasons. One season will constitute a 5 credits, which is also here that there is a 8th class that's optional. And students can take advantage of an 8th class if you want. There is an extra fee in the tuition, but it's something that you can do instead of having an optional tutorial and take advantage of some more time in your schedule. Now, we have developed a PDF version of this 4-year plan. It's available on our website. Again, you can go to vcs.net, click on high school, and then academic counseling. Click the freshman, sophomore that's just beneath that. Then you'll see what's called the 4-year document. You'll be able to enter classes and other extracurriculars in this document to use as a plan for the 4 years here at Valley Christian. Now, all students are, it's a mandatory for them to do this 4-year plan and actually send it to either Mr. Smith or myself via email attachment. So you can actually edit this PDF and save it and send it as an attachment to us. We do need you to do this as a homework assignment for this presentation and access it on the website. You can also download a copy of our high school course catalog. It's located on our website as well to help you decide which classes are available for your plan. Now, work together with your student and parents on this and choose classes that are realistic to your student's abilities and gifting. Now, there are a couple of things you should consider with science and foreign language. Science is a bit tricky, so let's go over that first. Let's go back over to science. CSU admissions suggests you take a minimum of 2 science classes. Now, typically that might be physical science and then biology. And for the CSU system, that would be fine. Now, the UC schools, however, do not accept physical science. They require that you take any 2 classes from the following 3 choices. That'd be biology, chemistry, and physics. So if you're planning to prepare for a UC school or higher, you might consider chemistry and physics in your 4-year plan. That would be all right, but if you want to cover all your bases for CSU and UC and be eligible for both, you'd want to take a life science like biology as well. Foreign language does not carry a grad requirement, like I mentioned. 100% of colleges and universities do. If your student successfully completes level 1 of foreign language, they can go on to level 2. Again, for PE, just to continue to reiterate there, also the one thing that I didn't mention a second ago is they can be involved in musical theater. Take that class and avoid that second-year requirement of PE. They can be involved in dance here at Valley Christian and avoid that second year of PE as well. Let's move on in the presentation. Other elective requirements that I didn't really cover in that example are fine art. You do need 1 year of fine art. You can acquire that by taking one of our wonderful electives like art, photography, some others that are included. You can find those in your packet as well as technology. I have a page of that in your supplemental document. Technology requires 2 years to graduate. The first year we call Tech 1 is a requirement that wants to have students take a computer class where they're learning software like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and they can type a certain speed per minute. Now you can challenge that if you feel, you know what, I know these things. I've used a computer since the day I could walk and talk. Then by all means go ahead and challenge that by taking the Typing Challenge Test. For more information about the Typing Challenge Test, go to GroveSite, your GroveSite teachers, where you find the teacher websites. On the left column where you find all of the different academic subjects, you'll find the Typing Challenge link to go there and find out when the next test dates are, and actually to download a PDF study guide to prepare you for passing that test. Also added to these are general electives, 2 years of general electives. Now, typically students can get frustrated by these extra 2 years. How do I fit this into my schedule, Mr. Terode? Well, it's actually pretty easy, because any class that you take that goes above and beyond our normal graduation requirements will be considered a general elective. So we recommend, for instance, that you take 4 years of math and not just the required 3 years, because most colleges are recommending it. So that 4th year of math, for instance, will be considered a general elective class. Also in the area of foreign language, though any of those years will be considered general electives. So right away, if you've gone to a level 3 foreign language, you've already gone over that the requirement of general electives at least by 1. So you'll be safe in that area. So just to recap here, high school graduation requirements are here in front of you. They're also on our website, but it's convenient. It's here. All of the credits that you need are here, the years and the subject area that you need to accomplish. Remember, students, you need 240 total credits to graduate from Valley Christian. We watch this very closely as counselors, especially in your junior and senior year, by doing graduation status or grad checks. Most students that follow our 4-year plans will typically graduate with about 270 credits. So they typically will go over the 240 quite easily, and you'll find that that's not very difficult to do. All right, let's move on and talk a little bit about honors and AP classes. These are actually a very important concept, and many students that are watching this, or parents, you know that your student's involved in maybe multiple honors classes right now. Honors and AP classes benefit your student because they take the information much deeper and broader, really developing your student, preparing them for college. Also, honors and AP classes gives you 5 points, not just the normal 4 points that effectively boosts the student's grade point average. So that's why a student could walk around our campus with a 4.4 or 4.5 GPA, because obviously they're getting probably straight A's in their classes. AP, or Advanced Placement, gives up to 1 college credit with a successful AP exam score. Scoring 1 through 5 are the scores for AP exams. 3, 4, and 5 are passing scores. Let's talk about workload for a minute. There's some benefits to taking honors in AP classes, but there could be a downside as well, right? So let's take a look at the course load. Regular college prep classes here at Valley Christian typically will require 2 to 3 hours of homework from our students per class per week. Now, if you add on top of that honors classes, they will require 3 to 4 hours of homework for that class weekly. AP classes, now we're looking at 5 to 6 hours of homework per class per week. So it's very important that the student, when they're considering classes for the next year, that they actually add up all the hours and add the hours of extracurricular activity as well. This is an important concept that sometimes students forget about. They forget that they're doing swimming after school or club sports. They're involved in community outreach projects and things of that nature. You have to add all of that in and ask yourself, can I really do this? Now, this is an actual schedule from a Valley Christian student a couple of years ago who was taking, as you can see, multiple science classes, multiple AP and honors courses. Ends up that student was spending about 28 hours a week in homework. Now, you do the math and think, man, can I really accomplish 28 hours of homework per week? And if I'm working every single day, that's still a lot of hours every single night. And does that give me time to adequately spend time with my family? Does it give me enough time for sleep and to be healthy? So that's a question we want all of our students to answer. Challenge versus success is a philosophy that we're talking a lot more about here at Valley Christian. Lately, a team of our administrators and teachers and the parents have been attending some conferences at Stanford University. Annually, they have a Challenge Success Conference that talks about how we as a school can minimize stress among our student population. And there's more than just homework that's in that formula. But we do want to challenge our student, right? I think every family wants to have a challenging experience for their student. That's how they're going to be ready and prepared over the next 4 years for a challenging experience in college. But we don't want to challenge our students so much that success becomes out of their reach. We want our students to be able to achieve success and feel like they're achieving success when they're here at school. Now, I have this slide in front of you that shows an arbitrary line that I refer to as the student's ability level. I feel every student has a different ability level. This might be your student that you see in front of you. You might have a student that has an ability level that is lower than that one, and that's okay because that's their specific ability. You might have a student whose ability level is very high, and so they're able to take on honors and AP classes where the other student might not be able to. That doesn't make them any better, that just makes them a little different. Now, what we want to do here at Valley Christian, and we want our parents to see this philosophy, is that we want to challenge our student right to their ability level. We want, if they can handle it, them to take honors and AP classes. The one thing that we want to make sure does not happen is that we over-challenge our student. You can see a student here who's being over-challenged. They're taking a couple of honors classes, a couple of AP classes, and probably should not be taking those classes because those are exceeding their ability level. There's a quote here that I've put in my presentation that from Madeline Levine, who is a counselor and psychologist and works in the Challenge Success program out of Stanford. She said in one of her presentations that we really shouldn't ask our students to climb a mountain if they're not mountain climbers. They might end up getting hurt. I think a lot of times we have expectations we put on our students that we want them to achieve a certain level. And those expectations, although they are rooted in some good intentions, are probably not the best for that students because it doesn't match their ability level. We can also see here that a mountain climber trying to reach that Princeton, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, that Ivy League, when maybe they should be down at the bottom assisting the climber. Anyway, that's a great quote. Thought I would add that to my presentation. Again, remember the student ability level. Here we have a student who's got a very high ability level. The flip side of the coin at over challenging might be under challenging our student as well. They might have every ability to take multiple honors and AP classes, and maybe they're afraid to do that. Maybe they have some self-confidence issues, and they never really achieve that academic level that they should have been taking. So we want to be aware of that too as counselors and parents and guardians. Another great quote that I like from Albert Einstein: "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." So kind of a comical quote here, but we want to make sure that we don't have our students, we're not training them to be somebody that they really are not, and that each student has their own island of competence. Each student in their own right is successful in the things that they are doing. How will you know if you're being over-challenged? You might be asking yourself this question. There's a couple of tips in that area. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist in any way. These are just some of the things I've picked up along the way when I've listened or read books. Now, if your student is spending too much time doing homework, too much time is relative, probably, depending on your student. But if they're up very late and not getting enough sleep, which is the next bullet point, that might be because they're doing too much homework. Maybe they're spending too much time or getting too much homework. Anxiety and depression. If you notice that things have changed with your student, they are not enjoying life, they are not relaxing or creating something, or they don't have an outlet for creative expression. These are all things that, as parents, I would love for you to just watch as your student is in school, and make sure that if you see something go awry in any of these areas, you certainly can talk to us as the guidance counselor. However, as guidance counselors, really we help in the area pertaining to academics. Really, you should probably seek professional help, and especially in the area of anxiety and depression. Maybe have a counselor just talk with your student and get some professional help in that area. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and that will certainly help. Resilience is a word that I hear a lot about, especially through the Challenge Success program. Does your student have grit? This term grit really refers to the student's ability to bounce back in a tough situation. I think that's one thing that as parents and families we can get our students prepared to do in high school, so that when they reach college and reach that world that's out there, that they can be resilient, be able to bounce back, be able to overcome difficulties in their life. Here are a few bullet points on resilience. Parents would love for you to be positive with your student. We, in turn, will be positive as well. A lot of times we hear about statistics in the news about students and schools, and a lot of that can be negative. But look for the positive in those statistics. Focus or accentuate the positive at home. Keep a positive outlook. Encourage collaboration. Encourage your student to work with other students in terms of preparation, homework, and class projects. Collaboration can be a really good thing for your student to learn, so they don't feel like they're out there on their own accomplishing things. Encourage your student to try. They need encouragement from you as a parent. They need to know that it's okay to mess up. Mistakes are okay. Keep trying again. Get back up on that horse. Dust yourself off. This is a concept in resilience. Life isn't fair. I know there should be fairness and equity in education. I do believe that strongly. But we also, too, need to prepare our students for a world that they will one day face that really is not fair to them. And so the sooner that they can learn that, the better they'll be prepared. Set a good example. As I know, as a counselor and as an administrator here at the school, I want to be a good example to my students. Likewise, we want our parents also to live a good example. Remember, your student is watching you work very hard and maybe coming home late, and watching where your priorities lie as to how they should lead their life. Also, keep proper perspective. In this presentation, you'll see it says, is it a paper tiger? The concept of the real tiger versus the paper tiger came to me through Challenge Success. And in life, there are times where your student might face a tiger in their life. There's something that they should run away from. It's a challenge that they should not undertake because they might get hurt. But in life, most of these are paper tigers. A paper tiger might be a poor grade on a test. Instead of getting really down about a B minus or a C minus on an exam, this is a paper tiger. This is something that we can get by. We can overcome this. So teach your student how to distinguish between a real tiger and a paper tiger. I can give you more examples of that if you phone me or email me. Love to talk to you more about that, the tiger analogy. What about failure? And in the past, we haven't spoke a lot about failure. I think there was a feeling probably on my part that if we talk about failure, it might happen. But I do want students to realize what happens if failure occurs in their academics. Now, D's do not get degrees. Maybe we've all heard that term before. It's true, actually. D's and F's are not transferable to colleges and universities, so we want to avoid those at all costs. Consider D's as grades that are not passing. Okay. Grades here at Valley Christian are calculated by semester and not year. So for an example, if I use English 9 your freshman year and you get a D in your first semester, that's really not a great grade. That is not going to transfer. But semester 2, you did really good. You got an A in that second semester. Those do not combine magically to create a passing grade of any kind. So please be aware of that. Each semester is vitally important to colleges and universities on your transcripts, and they're recorded accordingly. Grades are also recorded on the transcript by semester, not quarter. This is important because very soon you might be getting a quarter report, a report card in the mail. So you can regard those as grades that will not be permanent on the transcript. Some parents and families think that that's so. It is not. Now, this does not mean that you can relax and, boy, that's okay. It's not going to be recorded. I'm okay. If you have a grade of C minus or less on that quarter grade, then really you probably need to kick it into gear. You have some time. You have another quarter to get that grade up to where you'd want it to be for colleges to consider. So get that grade up by semester, and then it will be recorded permanently. The quarter report is your opportunity to gauge how you're doing in school. Remediation. Remediation means that you're going to do a class over again. It potentially means summer school for a student. Please note that you can make up one or more semesters of a class. So if you did poorly in, remember that English 9 class, you've got a D, but you did well in semester 2, we typically will have a 3-week semester, so you can just do 3 weeks in semester 1 of that English 9 class to remediate the first semester. You won't have to go to the second term of summer school, but if you did poorly in both semesters, you could take the 6-week or both terms and remediate both of those semesters. It's important for you to know, parents, that failing grades do stay on the transcript, okay? If you remediate a class, that new grade will go in typed in right underneath the poor grade that you didn't like before, but the passing grade is considered by the colleges. They'll take the better grade. All right, so there's a concept here that's rather big. I usually draw a line between homework and career, and that's a long stretch, right? That's a long bridge to build, I say. But it's really true that the things that you're doing now at Valley Christian in terms of your homework, if let's say you do all of your homework, every bit of it, and you do it to the best of your ability, you're probably going to do well on quizzes and tests. You're going to get good grades in that class, which will translate into your ability to take honors and AP classes later in your junior and senior year, which will give you strength of schedule that colleges and universities will see, and they'll hopefully one day say yes to you to come to their prestigious university, and which will translate hopefully into a wonderful career someday. Now, that's a long span, but in about 20 seconds, you see that homework really can tie in to your career someday. It's a very important concept. I don't know who sent out the memo long ago, but many students feel like it's okay to miss a homework assignment here or there. It really is not. Once you've missed 2 to 3 homework assignments, statistically, your grade level could drop by 1 letter grade. So do not do this. If you're sick, for instance, and you're out, you have an excused absence, you have time to make that up, but make sure that you stay on top of making that up. It's very important to do that. It's your responsibility. And students, I will end this presentation by saying, yes, it is your responsibility solely to get a good education. Your family and your guardians are here to help you. They are the primary educators. We as counselors, your pit crew, is here to assist you if you need the help. But if you do nothing, then nothing will happen, right? Remember that we are shaping a key, right, that will one day unlock every door of opportunity that you want unlocked for your future. So God bless you in your search for that career and that college someday. Please remember that you can change this plan at any time. Remember your homework assignment, students, to actually download this PDF document, edit your four-year plan, and attach it in an email to either Mr. Smith or myself. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you at school.